Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yes, that required a response. My name is Sydney Cooper, and I have the privilege of serving as the city correspondent for the office of Mayor Ed Gainey. June 19, 1865, marked the dimming of a dark chapter in the history of the United States of America. I say dimming because while Juneteenth marked the end of slavery in our country, racial inequality is alive and well today. Still, the holiday serves as a beacon of hope for African-American men, women, and children, both nationally and internationally. It's a day for us to remember the sacrifices and resilience of our beloved ancestors, a moment for us to reflect on how far we've come, a chance for us to rejoice because of the hope that we have to dream of a future where our culture and heritage is truly appreciated and accepted. Whether it's a grand parade throughout the streets of a city or a backyard barbecue, every Juneteenth celebration should be embraced, celebrated, and it's an opportunity for us to uplift that dream. Pittsburgh, we are fortunate to have a list of local Juneteenth celebrations, some big and some small, some widely popular and some intimate in nature. Today, though, we have the privilege of adding the first ever city-sponsored Juneteenth celebration to that list. Many questions have been asked, and I'd like to welcome the visionary that leads with every intention of creating a city in which we all thrive. Join me in welcoming the Honorable Mayor Ed Gainey.
First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for coming here today to have this much-needed conversation around the celebration of Juneteenth. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here today. I hope that today we can clear up any misinformation or confusion that we have out there. I don't want the public or anybody in here today to be confused with the misinformation or confusion that's out there. So today we hope to clear all this up. But most importantly, today is about celebrating our path forward to making sure the Juneteenth holiday receives the same long-term sustainable support and attention that city-sponsored 4th of July does. Before I talk about how we're going to bring this vision to reality, I want to take a moment to acknowledge B. Marshall and thank B. Marshall for uplifting Juneteenth in our city of Pittsburgh. I have proudly supported B throughout the years as a state rep that helped him to secure Point State Park. In my first term as mayor, I helped him to fundraise to make sure that this event that we call Juneteenth was the type of event that everybody could be proud of. We also eliminated the debt that came along that he owed the city. I want to make sure that I say it again. I want to thank B. Marshall for uplifting Juneteenth. I also plan to continue to support him. And I plan to go to as many of the Juneteenth events that I can and hope that everyone in this city joins me in going to those events. Everything that we have been doing in support of Juneteenth over the past several years was about planting a seed to make sure that the city is able to host a Juneteenth celebration long after anyone in this room is here. We want to make sure that Juneteenth is sustainable, and we want to make sure that it's a city-held event that is doing great things to talk about the importance of Juneteenth, not only in this city, but throughout. That is my vision, and as a part of that, we owe it to our residents and our taxpayers to be as transparent and open to the public so that everybody can understand exactly how we're moving this forward. My administration is committed to the highest levels of transparency, and everything that we do must be transparent and accountable. If we are going to be successful in our efforts to transform this city into a city for all, we have to be transparent. And we have done, and this is why we have decided to issue a request for proposal and have created a way for Juneteenth to be a city-sponsored celebration. And we have done so in a way that was open to all and transparent to the public. The new way forward will allow us to create a sustainable path for our celebration year after year. I'm proud that our city has multiple opportunities to celebrate Juneteenth, because celebrating the freedom of Black people from slavery shouldn't be contained in just one event. We should never be contained in just one event. I'm excited that Fantasy is here today as she brings national experience to our first ever city-sponsored Juneteenth. From Usher to the NAACP Image Awards, to our own celebration of the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and my own inauguration, Fantasy and her team at Bounce will do an excellent job with their event planning when it comes to the Juneteenth Fusion Fest. I hope that everyone here can come out and celebrate all the Juneteenths, the small ones, the big ones, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the city is celebratory when it comes to Juneteenth. And so I thank everybody for being here. I appreciate it, and we will go forward. We will go forward with the openness, the transparency that is needed to let people know that when it comes to taxpayer dollars, we are sincere about being transparent. We are open to the public, and therefore there is always something that can be followed. In order for Juneteenth to be a success, we have to ensure that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mayor Gainey. Juneteenth is a nationally recognized holiday. And as Mayor mentioned, our investment in the Juneteenth celebration is not one that was made on a temporal basis, but one that was made to ensure that this celebration is sustained for many years to come, because that's what we deserve. We are thankful that City Council too recognizes the impact of Juneteenth and the importance of making investments to be sure that it is celebrated in the same manner as the city-sponsored 4th of July holiday celebrations. Here to speak more to that is City Council President Daniel LaBelle.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The mayor's remarks were more than appropriate, so I'll be very brief. Clearly, as already indicated, America has two independence holidays. The first is July 4th, and for years, the city of Pittsburgh has sponsored a July 4th holiday. I am very proud to now stand with our mayor, who has decided to elevate Juneteenth to also be a city-sponsored holiday and recognize it as America's second Independence Day here in our country and celebrate it as it is justly deserved. It was an appropriate move, and I thank you for doing that. I want to thank my colleagues who supported this effort. I have two here with me today, Councilman Warwick, Councilman Mosley is with us, and I want to thank them for supporting this, and I look forward to, as the mayor says, celebrating all the Juneteenth festivals, especially now a city-sponsored one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insight, Council President. Now I'm gonna take you guys back a little bit. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. And growing up, I have vivid memories of celebrating 4th of July. But I can honestly say that it wasn't until my adult years that I noticed the city really doing what they needed to do to celebrate the Juneteenth holiday. I say that to say, Pittsburgh, we are evolving. We are growing. That is what we are supposed to do. Juneteenth isn't an African-American holiday. It is a holiday for everyone and should be celebrated as such. When you travel to other major cities, let's say DC, Atlanta, Texas, you are without a doubt going to be exposed to multiple Juneteenth celebrations. And I'm so proud to see the holiday expand so that it's not just a one-off experience for our residents here in Pittsburgh, but something that we grow with various celebrations and opportunities for the message of Juneteenth to truly be felt in our city. It's an opportunity to unite all of us. It's an opportunity to say with our actions and our wallets that this city seeks to be diverse and inclusive of every culture and nationality. The expansion of the festivities also allows us to promote another type of inclusion. That inclusion is of diverse businesses and talent, which we are so fortunate to have here in the city of Pittsburgh. Bounce Marketing and Events is owned and operated by a Black woman who has cultivated events for the likes of Beyonce, Twitter, Amazon, and many more. And now, Pittsburgh's first city-sponsored Juneteenth celebration. Here to unveil the details of that celebration is owner and operator of Bounce Marketing and Events, Fantasy Zellers.
Good afternoon. My name is Fantasy Zellers. I am the founder and president of Bounce Marketing and Events. I am honored to lead the city-sponsored Juneteenth celebration. As Juneteenth holds a great significance, and as everyone has said, is celebrated in a variety of ways across the nation. With nearly 3 decades of experience, my company has a proven track record of working with major clients such as Amazon, Walgreens, Prime Video, Twitter, JBL, Walmart, and many other household names. Our specialty is creating memories and experiences in various industries around the world, including many here in Pittsburgh, like the August Wilson Block Party, homecoming events for the University of Pittsburgh, Kwanzaa Community Day at the August Wilson Cultural Center, and the MWDBE Governmental Committee Annual Conference, to name a few. Our Juneteenth event is called Fusion Fest, which will celebrate echoes of our ancestors and beats of the future, and is set for June 29th inside and around the Greenwood Plan building on Smithfield Street. Fusion Fest is not just an event, it is a celebration of Pittsburgh's rich Black culture and vibrant art scene. We plan to bring the best in talent, art, fashion, food, music, and dance right to the heart of downtown Pittsburgh. Thanks to Mayor Ed Gainey and his administration, Fusion Fest is poised to put a spotlight on the amazing talent we have right here in Pittsburgh. We are excited to hire and highlight talent and will feature a variety of attractions. Once again, I just want to repeat, we are looking forward to hiring and highlighting local talent from the Pittsburgh community. We'll be bringing a historical walk through Black Pittsburgh, a maker's market, a spoken word and author experience, interactive activities for kids, health, wellness, and fitness, a stunning art gallery, a fashion show and market, eye-catching commissioned art installations, and all-day performances. We are tapping into various stakeholders in Pittsburgh to curate pieces of the festival, like Demetria Bucella, who will bring her Fashion Africana event to Fusion Fest, Jaquay May, who is going to curate our spoken word and author experience. Daniel Edmonds will be bringing Fabulous Fridays for an after party. If you think you can bring an event within an event, please reach out. We are calling on local makers, creators, artists, authors, performers, designers, organizations, and vendors to join us. Fusion Fest is your stage. Let's take this moment to show up, show out, and show the world what Pittsburgh is made of. Applications are open now, and we're eager to see what you've all got to offer. Due to the incredibly tight turnaround, please don't wait to apply. We will be making decisions in real time until the agenda is full. Join us to make Fusion Fest a landmark event. For details and to get involved as a stakeholder, vendor, or sponsor, please visit the website juneteenthfusionfest.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Fantasy. Yep, you can stop. I don't know about you all, but I'm extremely excited. As Fantasy mentioned, June 29th is going to be a fun and inspiring day for our city. Earlier in the day, we will actually be taking the government to the people for our City in the Streets initiative, Hill District Edition. A little bit further down the street, Bike PGH will be hosting Open Streets, which is a great opportunity for people to come out, ride their bikes, their skates, and do all that without having to worry about vehicle traffic. And then you can just make your way down for Fusion Fest to celebrate Juneteenth with local artists, vendors, performance, and much more. I'm already looking forward to the day, and I invite all of Pittsburgh to come out and support these events that showcase what our city is all about. At this time, we are going to move on to the question and answer portion of the program. I do want to preface this with one statement. While we typically do allow for questions around other topics to be asked, we are focused on Juneteenth today. So with that, I am going to welcome my lovely speakers up here because they will be able to answer whatever questions you may have. And we're going to open the floor for questions. We're going to start over here.
Mayor, my first question is, last year, most of the community recalls either you're standing up at the council chambers and saying that for 2 years, B. Marshall would be awarded the $250,000, $125,000 each year. And now we're learning that there was a clause in that contract basically that said that it could be opted out. What is the reason for the city wanting to do a Juneteenth in 2024 as opposed to just waiting until 2025 and probably the controversy that's been happening in the black community.
So the reality is we never budget for 2 years. The budget is only for 1 year, and that was the 125. So after the 125 was done, we felt that at the end of the day, we needed to be more transparent because there was always questions going on, as you can imagine. So in doing so, we said we have to come up with a new process, a process that is more open. And in order to do that, we would have to have our first annual Juneteenth. We would have to own it in order to put out a request for proposal. We can't put out a request for proposal if we don't know the event. So that's where the change was made. In order for us to be able to do it and be more transparent with taxpayer dollars, we had to own the event. We had to put out an RFP, which is a request for proposal, for people to be able to come back and put their proposal in for it.
And when the RFP came out, can you explain how there were 3 people that obviously wanted to host the Juneteenth for the RFP? Why was Bounce Marketing chosen over the other 2, including B. Marshall?
Excuse me, Jake Pollack, Deputy Mayor. We're not able to talk about the specifics of the selection process at this time until the contract is fully signed. Obviously, the authorization from council to do that was just happened today, so the legislation needs to come over for the mayor to sign and then the contract to be signed, at which point we'll be able to release all 3 proposals and talk more about the selection process and the advantages and disadvantages of each. But until the procurement is fully closed with a signed contract, we can't share some of those details, but that'll happen very soon.
Next question.
Questions for the mayor. How are we going to make sure that this is sustainable, making this a permanent city-sponsored Juneteenth celebration? This funding right now is coming from relief money. How is it going to be funded next year?
Good question, and I got my director of OMB here.
So, as the mayor mentioned, appropriations on an annual basis are always subject to the budget process. So even with the funding for this year's event, there was legislation last year that anticipated 2 years worth of funding, but that was dependent on that funding being included in the 2024 budget, which didn't pass until the end of last year. Similarly, we'll be bringing forward a budget proposal for 2025 that includes funding for Juneteenth. And I suspect, given the strong support from Council and Council President Lavelle, as he spoke to earlier, for continuing to support this holiday, that will be something that all of us can agree on to include in the 2025 budget and budgets thereout. But that'll be something that is discussed. And the source of funding in particular, we won't have ARPA funds to utilize in the future, so we'll have to identify somewhere else within the city's resources, whether that's general fund dollars or some other source of funding. That's to be determined as we get into the budget process. We'll be figuring that out leading up to the mayor's September budget proposal, which will be our point at which to make a suggestion as to how to achieve that. Then that'll be discussed by the public and council, and ultimately we'll arrive at a final budget. But I'm confident that Juneteenth will be included in there. I think, just to underscore something that the mayor said, it's also important in our view to have established a clear and transparent process for making those selections into the future for the same reason, right? If we want to always have funding for a city-sponsored Juneteenth celebration included in the budget, and always have a Juneteenth celebration that meets the city's expectations and requirements, we need to establish a clear procedure for making that selection in an open and transparent way that anyone can submit for. So I anticipate in next year's RFP that some of the same respondents who responded to this year's RFP will apply. We may see others, and we want to make that make that decision each year in a manner consistent with our expectations and objectives.
Two more questions.
For the mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Introduced in City Council today was a proposal for council directing some city funds to the B. Marshall event as well. Do you support that, and what would the impact be of moving the funds that council targets proposing to move for the B. Marshall event this year, where that money would be coming from?
Well, I would prefer council answer where it would come from. Council feels that they should be able to find, and that's fine with council. For us, we just want to be cautious about that because we know that there's a lot of event promoters out there as well that may be looking for the same thing. So I would prefer council to answer that question, not me, because the question that you're addressing is really the council. So does anybody from council want to address that?
Sure. The 125 that was introduced today will come from an ARPA line item of expenditures that will not be able to be expended by the deadline.
And that being the case, Mayor, can you endorse and sign off on that?
If council brings it over, we will definitely work with council, yes.
Do either or both of you envision in years ahead there being, through these two different mechanisms, city funding for both the official city-sponsored event and the, for lack of a better term, underwritten event that's happening this year with B Marsh?
We're going to focus on the city-sponsored event.
Yeah, moving forward, I agree with the mayor. We're certainly focused on the city-sponsored event, which will be a RFP. This is really council's way of fulfilling what it established in 2023. And obviously, using ARPA dollars, those dollars will not be available moving forward. So we will solely focus in out years on the city-sponsored event.
And that's why this was so important. If we're going to set a precedence that we're going to go forward to ensure that Juneteenth is going to be every year, one, we have to work through the budgetary process, you heard him say, but there also has to be a standard of operation to where we're being transparent so people can see why this is so necessary.
One final question?
This question's for Fantasy. About details, because we're just learning these new details about this event. Our local artists, they're not hired based off what you said. Are they going to be charged to participate in this event? How is this working?
No, we are looking forward to hiring local talent to perform and activate on site.
And had there not been funding made available through this RFP process, would this event taken place?
I don't think so.
I think we
All right,
all-
we're gonna wrap questions now.
Just hearing a few more details about, is this a one-day event? And tell us a bit more about the venue.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to actually be releasing further details about the event from Fantasy later on, so we would appreciate if we could go ahead and wrap this up because we have kept people here for quite a while. I want to thank you all for coming out here today to learn about this event. Remember to mark your calendars for June 29th for Fusion Fest, and we'll be sure to see you there. That concludes our program. Thank you all for coming. Have a good one.